Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Thursday, the 20th day of July, 2023. Yes, 23. It is Thursday of the 15th week of the year, the 15th week in Ordinary Time. Because it is a little bit more humid outside today, and there's not much of a breeze, decided to come inside and take a look at our church. Here it is, all nice in its morning glory this morning. So on this Thursday of the 15th week of the year, Moses asks the question that is one of the most profound questions that you would have in Scripture, and that is asking the name of God. And here is where God gives the name that God is known by, which is basically not a name at all. It is a verbal construction. I am who am. It is the Yahweh, it is the the YHWH is the name that is not spoken in Judaism, because it is the name of God, and yet it is given to Moses easily when Moses asks God for this name, because Moses needs to know who is speaking to him when he goes to the Israelites and tells them that this is the one who said he's going to liberate you, bring liberation, bring freedom from the slavery and oppression in Egypt. And so this name, again, a God who wants to be known, a God who is not mysterious, but yet a God who is not known by the names that we name everything else in this world, not a nominative, but a verbal phrase. Again, existence itself, reality itself. And it's always important to remember that if we are creations of this God who is a verbal reality, then in many ways we also are verbal realities. That we are known not necessarily by our names or by our titles or by whatever attributes we have, but we are known by what it is that we do and what we accomplish and how we become the people that we are meant to become, that God has created in the first place. Another interesting part of this dialogue between Moses and God is that God says is that it will not be easy to get the freedom and to get Pharaoh to agree to let you go. And God even says that Pharaoh will be stubborn, and Pharaoh will not let you as slaves go freely. And it's an interesting point, that has to be made, is that God cannot force Pharaoh to release the Israelites. In the same way that God cannot force us to do anything. Well, we get into problems at times when we look at God and we want God basically just to get something done, and basically just do it in God's own self, in God's own way. And that is not how God ever works. And we're not paying attention to Scripture if we kind of approach God in that way. God is not a magician who manipulates, because that's what magicians do. They manipulate. And God does not manipulate by forcing us or changing our or coming into our minds or whatever it is, so that we do what it is that our will is not willing to do on its own. That then also has to be extended to all those things, perhaps in this world or in our lives, that we might want to make us do things that are not good for us, that are not celebratory of what it is that we are. Things cannot control us. As much as Hollywood wants to project different kinds of stories and all kinds of things, if God cannot control us, then nothing else can control us. We are the ones who have to make the decisions, to accept or to deny, to say yes or to say no. And this is the situation that Moses will encounter with Pharaoh, is that Pharaoh has to agree to let this happen, and Pharaoh unfortunately will not, and we'll see how that story unfolds. In Matthew's Gospel, a very short little passage today about anybody who is weary or who labors, is burdened, come to God, come to Christ and find rest. Again, because the burden is easy, the yoke is light, and there will be refreshment. Again, this is what God calls us to, is to be able to find the peace in our lives that this world cannot give on its own, that we cannot find on our own. And so the sense that God offers us is that it is not about doing commandments and rules and regulations. It's not about burdening ourselves again and again to please a God who doesn't ever seem to be able to be pleased. It is a God who wants to reach out first and give rest, give refreshment, to take away our burdens, to take away our pains. That shows a God who is indeed a God, not a God who's trying to manipulate so that this God can feel great about who and what this God is. It is a God who offers us what it is that we need, and we need to be attentive and listen to what it is that God is offering and accept what God freely gives. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.